What do you do with all your stuff when you're done with it? It's an age-old question, and gone are the days when folks burned it all in their backyards or when garbage trucks just hauled it all away to the landfills. Now we've come to realize that a lot of stuff has a second life ahead of it, and that's where recycling comes in. So let's start with some stats. About a third of the municipal solid waste stream is paper, and recycled paper provides just over a third of the fiber in new paper products. The great thing about glass is that it's infinitely recyclable, meaning it retains its quality throughout its many lives. Toss a can in your bin. Recycling it uses a quarter of the energy that it takes to make steel from raw materials. As for an aluminum can, it can be turned into a new can and back on the shelf, filled with a new tasty drink, in about 2 months. Your plastic bottles can be turned into next year's warm winter garb, and a ton of those bottles would otherwise take up over 7 cubic yards in a landfill. But here's the really great thing. The City of Charlotte's single-stream recycling program picks up that bin full of recyclables right at your curb. So you think, that's it. That's recycling. We've saved the world. But there are more ways that the city is involved in recycling and sustainability. Just like at home, city employees can participate in recycling at work, including right here at the GOV Channel studios. And if you work in Center City or are just up for a night out, Solid Waste Services has ensured that you can recycle it in street-side bins. In the first 6 months of 2012, those bins were filled with about 7 tons. That's equivalent to 11 horses. And during special events like the Democratic National Convention or Carolina Panthers games, special efforts are made to capture recyclables. Charlotte Douglas International Airport is embracing sustainability with a wide array of approaches, from vermicomposting, using worms to break down food waste and paper, to its new airport recycling center, which is expected to save over $250,000 annually. Then there's Power to Charlotte. Go to the website. It's a gateway to the city's energy-efficient initiatives. And one goal of those initiatives is to make Charlotte an energy capital, boosting our economy. It started with funding from the Department of Energy's Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant Program. 17 projects were accomplished with the funding. They include energy improvements to a number of city facilities, electric vehicle charging stations and vehicles, those uptown on-street recycling bins that I just told you about, and a new electronic wayfinding and parking signage system to point folks to real-time parking availability uptown. 2 programs address the needs in the city's revitalization zones. The Residential Energy Efficiency Program weatherized homes and provided new appliances. And the Commercial Building Retrofit Program provided grants so businesses and apartments could become more sustainable. There was even a neighborhood energy challenge that allowed folks in 7 neighborhoods to implement energy solutions geared to their own needs, from home audits to bike rack installations. The city also has matching grant programs that partner with neighborhoods in many ways, including growing community gardens. Just think of the benefits neighbors can get from fresh produce they've grown themselves. And when it's time for new facilities to be built, the city pursues alternative energy sources, from geothermal heating and cooling to solar water heating. And of course, LEED certification proves that efficiencies are being met. Sometimes being green really does involve green. Did you know that it takes just 2 mature oak trees to absorb 2 cars' worth of carbon, as well as covering the oxygen needs for a family of 4? Our tree canopy is important to our quality of life. The City of Charlotte maintains 160,000 street trees, and each year the city spends $2.87 per person on those trees. But trees can't do all the work necessary to make our air breathable. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions is critical to that effort as well. In addition to those electric vehicles, the city's fleet is expanding into other alternate fuels, including compressed natural gas and hybrids. Keep an eye out. You'll see Solid Waste Services trucks and CATS buses on the road that aren't running on gas or diesel. And CATS buses and Lynx Light Rail also give you the opportunity to park your car and reduce the miles you drive, as well as reducing your carbon footprint, all while leaving the driving to CATS. It's not just how vehicles move around town that helps with emissions, energy efficiency, and quality of life. That's why it's important to look at land use and planning for the future. If it's easy to bike or walk wherever you need to go, school, work, the park, the grocery, you and the community will be better for it. There's one precious resource we haven't talked about yet: water. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Utilities Department takes water from the lakes, makes it safe for drinking, then returns it to the lakes cleaner than it was before. But that's just part of the story. Charlotte is crisscrossed with creeks and streams, all making their way to either the Catawba or Yadkin rivers, and water quality is challenged by everything from what we put on our lawns to the pollutants that rains wash off our roads. But guess what? There are some who think they can throw just any old thing into a nearby creek. Hard to believe, but it happens. Which brings us back around to the question we started with. What do you do with your stuff once you're done with it? You might not know it, but there are things that North Carolina law bans from landfills. That means we have to appropriately dispose of plastics number 1 and 2, aluminum, electronic devices, and yard waste. Yard waste is great. You can turn it into mulch or compost in your own backyard, or the city will pick it up at your curb and recycle it likewise. And of course, the big green bin is the place for plastics and aluminum. But what about electronic devices? Well, Mecklenburg County's recycling centers will take them, as will some charities around town. County recycling centers will also accept household hazardous wastes like paint or batteries or compact fluorescent bulbs. And while you can schedule solid waste services to come pick up your bulky items, washers, couches, things like that, you might want to consider donating them to charities. Some will come pick up the items and either recycle them or put them up for sale in shops. That old table you want to get rid of might be just the thing someone else has been searching for. So I hope you've enjoyed this little adventure into the City of Charlotte's sustainability initiatives and what they can mean to you and what you can do to help. These kinds of measures can save money, protect resources, boost our economy, and even allow us to breathe a little easier. Oh wait, one more thing. We're on approach to the holiday season. That means a lot of gift giving, whether it's for Hanukkah or for Christmas or for that slew of late November family birthdays. There are ways you can reduce waste and recycle. When buying gifts, consider just how much packaging comes with them. And when making them all pretty for presentation, think about reusing gift bags that you've already received. And if you save it carefully, you can even reuse wrapping paper. Or you can get really creative and make your own from paper bags or even newspaper. Once the gifts are open, rescue what paper and bags you can, and remember that whatever's left over is probably recyclable. Go to curbit.charlottenc.gov. You can find out about Solid Waste Services holiday tips, from recycling to the holiday collection schedule to what to do when you're done with your Christmas tree. I'm Sandra Barley for CitySource, wishing you a happy, recycled, reusable holiday season.